If you want to go big, you have to be obsessed with what you do. You can't half-ass it. When you have that level of this is what I want to achieve and this is how I'm going to do it, like nothing else matters. Hello and welcome back to another episode on the Beauty Industry Leaders Podcast. I'm your host, Sammy Kennedy. In today's episode, I'm joined by Katy Hirst, a registered nurse of 18 years, cosmetic nurse of 9, clinical trainer for Allergan, and the brilliant founder behind the Aesthetic Lounge in Cairns. Katy's journey isn't your typical cosmetic nurse story. From working in chain clinics to building her own thriving boutique business in Cairns, she's not only shaped an unforgettable client experience, but is also on the front lines training the next generation of injectors across remote Australia. Together, we'll be unpacking the divide between skin therapists and nurses, the challenges and advantages of running a business in a regional location, what's really changing with the TGA regulations, the impact on visibility, marketing, and compliance, and her vision for where this industry is headed in the next 5 years. Whether you're a clinic owner, an injector, or a beauty business owner just curious about what it really takes to thrive in the aesthetics industry, pour yourself a coffee or matcha if that's more your flavor lately, and settle in. We'll be sharing pure gold in this episode, and trust me, you'll want to soak up every word. Katy, welcome to the show. How are you feeling today?
So good. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
I'm excited to have you too. I know you reached out to me a while ago. You've been a long-term listener and supporter of the podcast. And when I saw your message pitching to me saying that you've built this business, you've come from the LCA background, but now you've got your own thing going on, you're training, you're flying, I was like, let's get you on and have you talking. I'm so keen.
Yeah, well, I've loved your podcast for ages. Listen every week, love it, learn so much from it, even when it's not particularly surrounding cosmetic injectables or anything, but you just learn so much business-wise. So I was like, hell yeah, I'm going to reach out.
Katy, you don't need to do an injectable business. I'm teaching you how to build a bowling alley, okay?
Yeah, very true. I'm going to have a change of career before you know it.
I'm not even joking. The amount of messages I get from people saying, wow, that was really interesting, or how much does it actually take to set this up? I might try and get some investors. I'm like, okay, look, like maybe that is my career. Like I just start converting beauty business owners into bowling alley owners because they're so burnt out. But like the lanes make the money for you. So you know, if you can do it, do it. But here we are. Anyways, for all my incredible listeners who are tuning into this episode wondering who the heck is Katy, if they haven't already stalked you, let's get to know the woman behind the scrubs. When you're not running the Aesthetic Lounge or flying around training others, how do you love to spend your time? What lights you up outside of work? And who is the real Katy Hirst when she's off duty?
Ooh, I am a very simple living girl, really. I'm a boy mum. I've got a 9-year-old boy, so we spend a lot of our weekends motocross riding, and he's now got into mountain biking, all the really expensive spots, you know.
Do you do it too, or?
No, but I really want to get a motocross bike, but I am so petrified that I'll break my wrist and I won't be able to work. It becomes so
you just need to be a better team leader so you can delegate everything,
so true.
You know?
Yeah.
Work yourself out of the business from an injury. Okay.
Oh, God.
So, Katy, take me back to your high school days. Where were you and what was going on in your life when you were being told by teachers and parents that you need to choose a career?
I was like, no, I don't know what I want to do. I really had no idea at all what I wanted to do when I was at school. I was in the UK, that's where I was born. So I was at high school in the UK in the north of England. Very beautiful place, but I knew really that I didn't want to be there forever. So when I finished school, I had no idea what I wanted to do. I'm not academic, I'm very practical. So I left high school with my grades were like 4 Cs, 4 Ds and an E. So I am not the brightest spark, but I am very practical. You show me something once, I get it, that's it, I'm good to go. So I really didn't know what I wanted to do. My mum's best friend was a nurse, and she'd said, "Oh, you'd make a really good nurse." And literally, I was like, "Oh, I don't know what else to do." So I had to do a bridging course to nursing because my grades weren't good enough. And so I did a bridging course, and then I actually couldn't get into nursing straight away. It was full. So I came to Australia travelling when I was 18. So I came for a year travelling around the East Coast, went to Perth, and decided then that, okay, I'm going to go back, do my nurse training, and then move back to Australia. Because literally this was home now. It was so weird. And so that's what I did. I went back to the UK. I worked in retail for a little while as well, getting me through my nurse training. And then I was actually sponsored to come over here. And there was a shortage of nurses for Queensland Health many years ago. And so they came over to recruit. And I actually only went to the open day because a friend of mine was going. And she was going to have an interview there. So I said, "Oh, can I come along? It'll be a good day trip." And they interviewed me while I was there and offered me a job. And that was it.
That's wild. Imagine if you never went with your friend.
I know.
How different your life may be today.
Yeah. Everything happens as it's meant to. That's the thing.
So obviously you came from the UK, moved to Australia. You've now got this nursing job. At what stage did you end up transitioning into being a cosmetic injector?
Well, probably after about 12 years. So I've worked in intensive care majority of my career. And I've worked all over the world doing that. I worked in the Middle East. I've worked in Alice Springs, in Cairns in the UK. And I've actually always loved aesthetics. My mum's always wanted me to get into it because she's been having Botox forever and a day. So she was like, "Oh, you should get into this. It's really good." I think just because she wants bloody cheap Botox, basically. Wow. And yeah, absolutely. It's amazing how many friends you get when you suddenly go into this industry. I'll be a model. So I think I'd been doing ICU for about 12 years. And then I got offered a position doing cosmetic nursing with a plastic surgeon, actually whilst I was in Alice Springs. So I went to his clinic and he did some training with me. And then I fell pregnant. So I moved to Cairns, and that's when I really got into the industry and started working at Laser Clinics Australia.
So what was it like working in a chain for the first time? Because obviously when you're working at a hospital, you've got all these different people around you. There's support systems, reporting. Now you're going out on your own working in a clinic for someone else. What was that experience like?
I've got to say, it was actually really great to be starting out there. Yeah. And that changes along the way. But their training is really, it's very broad, but it's the same across the board. Every clinic you're at, it's the same products, it's the same pricing, you have the same training because everyone needs to be the same. So it's actually very structured from a training point of view. And I was still quite junior then, and I'm an ICU nurse and also have OCD. So I like structure, protocols, policies. That I work very well with that. Probably total opposite to you, Sammy, with your ADHD.
Oh, yeah, I'm definitely type B. Everyone looks at me and goes, "I thought you were type A." And I'm like, I mean, you should have seen my spreadsheet when I was going to Vietnam. Like, it had every single accommodation. That. It had, the price, the check-in date, the checkout date, the transport. But then you look at my apartment and it's just like there is a full dumping ground on this lounge / fold-out bed, and Nick is always cleaning up after me. I'll leave the dishes for 3 days sometimes because I'm just so obsessed with the work I'm doing for clients. I forget to eat. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think I love that side of my personality. But if you ask my mum, she's like, "You have OCD?" No, you don't. Because again, my house is not like that. But at work, very focused and driven. So yeah, the chain clinic worked really well for me until you get to a point where you can't go any further, okay? You're nice and busy, but you can't trial different products. You can only do certain treatments because there's other areas that, for that company, which I totally get, safety-wise, they don't want you treating. And it's a big corporation, basically. So it got to a point then where I'd grown my client base and I was just ready to advance more, really, do my own thing. And opened the door to so many new challenges, really.
And is that what then led you to go and open up your own business?
Yes, definitely. So I worked there for 3 years, and I spent that time building my client base so that when I decided to go out on my own, it was always the plan. I was always going to, that it would be a nice, smooth transition because I already had my clients basically. So I just got, to the end of the road of where, as far as I could go with that. And it wasn't a bad decision. It was just I was always meant to go on and do other things as well. So that's when I decided to open up. Well, initially my name was Injectables by Katy, but then I actually had to change my name due to TGA guidelines. But it was also good because then my team was growing. It wasn't just me anymore. So it was time to grow and change my name to the Aesthetic Lounge.
I have a couple of questions around that transition period. One of them is, when you were working for LCA and you decided to go out on your own, were there any issues with a non-compete? Like, are you allowed to take those clients with you? Because I know that they've just brought in a new law which basically says you can't have that non-compete clauses in contracts anymore.
Yeah. So when I left, there was a non-compete, but it's not worth the paper it's wrote on. So I never contacted any of the clients, though. I would always do the right thing because they've got a business to run as well. It's a local family that own that laser clinic. So I'm not going to be a bad person and do anything dirty. It was just time to move on. So I never contacted any clients. But Cairns is also a small place. I had my social media page. I changed my name. So my clients that followed my page anyway, and I'd always been very proactive with my socials, saw that I'd transitioned to a new place. So there was initially, I wasn't allowed to work within so many kilometres of the franchise. Out of respect, I did for, I think it was about 4 months. I worked 5 kilometres outside of that area. And then I've been polite. So it was time then to find a place to rent, and that's when I joined a skin clinic and we worked together. We took on the lease together.
It's really interesting, isn't it? Because I've had this conversation with a lot of business owners, like especially when someone is working for you and then they go and start out their own business. I guess in your case it's slightly different because you are kind of contracted in as your own professional service that just comes in for a day or two for them.
Yes.
So it's a slightly different but kind of similar situation. At the end of the day, like, no one actually owns clients. Like, I can't sign and say Katy is with me forever. Like, if you leave and they like you, they're going to follow you. And I think at the end of the day, it's that person's loyalty to whoever they have that connection with the most. If they feel most connected to the brand, they'll stay with the brand. If they feel really connected to that person, they're likely to follow on their journey.
Yeah. Absolutely right. And that's how I feel as well. And even now with the clinic I have, and girls will say, oh, she's my client. And I'm like, she's actually not your client. She's a clinic's client, but also
she's a person. She's a person making a decision to come to you. You do not own your clients. I feel like that kind of sounds a little bit toxic,
Yes, yeah. But you can't. Yeah, it's up to them where they go. But I'd spent that time building up that rapport with my clients, that it was actually a very easy transition out of the chain clinic for me. So
tell us about the vision behind launching this new business. Obviously, you've changed from Injectables by Katy to now the Aesthetic Lounge in Cairns.
Yeah.
What did you feel was actually missing in the industry?
Well, initially it was, I feel skincare and cosmetic injectables, they go hand in hand together. So when I left the chain clinic, I joined up with a beauty place in Cairns, and we worked together. We had a lease together because it works really well. You're referring between the both, the skin to the inject to skin. That's the best outcomes for clients when you're looking at it holistically and treating everything. So I was very much, it's just going to be me. I'm happy just me. That's all I want. I don't want the stress of a team, blah, blah, blah. And then it just grew astronomically, and I didn't have enough days and hours to treat everyone. So then I was like, it's time for me to take on somebody else. So I took on Injector, and it's just really grown and grown. And I half say it's organic, but it's not. Like, I've worked my ass off to get to this. And then it's organic as in, oh my God, clients choose to come to see us, but it's also all the hard work that you do behind the scenes with your marketing and everything else that the clients then come into your clinic. So then I just grew and grew and thought, actually, it's time to move into my own skincare with my own team, because basically we were just passing clients backwards and forwards, which is worked really well. But from a business perspective, I'm not getting any money from that.
Yeah.
So I was like, I feel it's time for me to actually, again, just move on to the next chapter, bring on a dermal therapist, and then have my own place. So I actually purchased a commercial property and I've renovated it. And now I have a team. I've got 2 dermal therapists, another cosmetic nurse, and then a clinic manager as well. And it just happened. It was just, shit, I'm getting busier. I don't want to work all hours God sends, and I need to outsource a bit. So,
and it's also really cool that you can see that connection between where the injectables sit and then also where skin therapists can also help, because I have seen people go out and just get Botox and filler and completely avoid doing anything to their skin, and it just makes them look older, really shiny. I don't know. It's not.
Yeah, it can look obvious.
Yeah.
And what's the point of doing all that when you've got all this pigmentation and sun damage, you know?
I think it's also a different era though. Like when we look at, okay, what was available for anti or pro-aging, whatever way you want to call it, like what was available 20 to 30 years ago? What was the skin advice out there? You know, what were doctors telling you? And then how many new innovations of products and treatments? And, you know, like I still, before I even got my first skin appointment booked in, I still thought the path was always go to a dermatologist. And I'm like, oh, there's such a thing for, okay, a skin therapist can help with this, you know, a cosmetic nurse. Should you be going straight and getting Botox straight away, or should you be doing skin first? Like there's so many questions that I actually feel are unanswered. And especially for me, I'm a young woman, so I'm not concerned about aging as much as other people who might be in their 30s and 40s are. But then I've seen people who are, the day they turn 18, start getting Botox. And I'm like, what is going on in this whole world? Like, when are you meant to start doing this? When are you meant to start doing that? Like the pressure to keep up with all the beauty trends. Like, what am I meant to be spending my money on? It's like exhausting.
I know it is. And I hate it. I do hate that side of the industry. It's so majority of my client base, the average age is 35 and above at my clinic. It's what I really enjoy, probably because I'm in that age bracket as well. And perimenopause, I want to slow down the aging process. It's great, by the way, when you get to that point. Really great time in your life. But it's just, that's my client base. That's my dream client, is someone 35 and above. Usually they've had children, the kids have grown up a bit more now, and they want to feel themselves again, and they actually generally feel really shit about themselves, and that makes me really sad. And that's what I love as part of the journey that they have with us, is seeing the confidence each visit get better and better. But if I just did cosmetic injectables on them, they're not going to have the best result. They're really not. Because they've got the aging process, they've got sun damage, especially up here in Cairns, and all the other things that are happening. So, and there's no point me doing all this work on you if you then put in bloody Nivea on your face at the end of the day.
Okay, I have a story for you. I don't know if I've told this on the podcast, but a great example of women who are uneducated about skin and injectables and things like that. They don't know any better. So my mum got sucked into an MLM with one of her friends, like Rodan Fields, something like that. I don't know if I'm saying it right. But basically, you know, she's doing this party and they invite everyone over. I'm pretty sure she spent $350 on these products.
Oh gosh.
And she starts using them. She's like, Sammy, I got skincare. And I was like, what the fuck is that? Like, skincare? Like, I don't know. I don't know everything, but if I were to see skincare, I would expect like, cosmetics, you know, ultraceuticals, Dermalogica, like something like that. And Mum's just brought home this like pink packaging. And I'm looking at the ingredients. I'm like, what is this? Like,
Oh
It's just,
my
I
God.
don't really know, and I don't think she knows either. So anyway, she's using it and she goes, it doesn't work. And then it wasn't until we were on our holiday at Vietnam, I looked at her and I was like, I learned this from one of my skin clients. That's pigmentation. Do you know you can get rid of that? She's like, what? And then I was like, yeah, you can. You'll just need some peels, I think. And then
Look
she
at you,
kept looking
girl.
at me. And I said, oh, but like, would you try some, medical skincare or what the actual experts would say? And she's like,
Yeah.
nah, it doesn't work. And I'm like, no, Mum, you bought skincare from an MLM. So like,
Yeah.
just going through a conversation like that where there's obviously no education around, okay,
That's it.
and the one bad experience equals everything's not going to work from there. There's a lot
That's
of
it, yeah.
trust. It's like a toxic relationship and you're the good guy and now you've got to build
Yeah.
that trust up again. It's like,
You really do. Yeah. And actually for our clients, what we do, because when we moved into skincare, I do complimentary facials for all my clients.
you or the dermal therapist?
Not me. Yeah. You wouldn't want me doing it. No, absolutely not. The dermal therapist. So for any of when we branched into skin, all of the cosmetic injectable clients, I got them all in for complimentary facials because I was like, we need to transition over and I need their feedback. And I want to know, what do you think of the products? What do you think of my dermal therapists? These are new stuff that I've taken on as well. And it was a very easy transition then because I use O Cosmetics and you don't have to sell that product. It's just beautiful. Like you'd have a facial and clients are like, this is great. It feels good. There's no downtime. And yeah, I'll take the products and then we're on a journey together. So, and it's so good incorporating. We're very good at our rebooking. So we have a plan with the dermal therapist and then I slot in usually about 3 to 4 months for injectables, and it just works holistically really well together.
So with most of your clients, like what percentage would you say are just injectables and then what percentage is just skin and then what percentage is both?
Yeah. Ooh, I reckon now that do both, we're probably up there with I'd say about 58-60%, something like that do both.
Yeah.
One of my dermal therapists is she had acne as a child. Well, she's still a child. She's 22, but she's still a baby face. But she's very passionate about acne. So obviously that brings in a younger client base.
Yeah.
Generally with the acne. So I often don't treat young people with injectables. So those clients, she's very focused and has a large database of acne clients, which we don't see for inject. We may do some scar treatments, but not from an inject side. So, and skin only, we're growing. It's only actually been a year of having dermal therapists as well. But I wouldn't know the percentage, but majority do both apart from that younger client base.
Yeah. So for that older clientele, you have educated them and found a way to incorporate the best of both worlds to get them the best results.
Yeah, absolutely. And samples, we give them samples. Take these home, because it's not a sell. I'm not ever selling to you. I'm telling you what would benefit for you. And I'm very honest. And I've got told it very early on. I said, oh my God, I love all my clients. Like every day is great. And a trainer who's training me, she's like, your vibe attracts your tribe. Yeah. And it was literally my clients are people that I could, tonight I'm going out with one of them. It's her birthday. Oh. Yeah. So I can be very honest with them and they appreciate that. Like I say, our client base 35 and above. We're busy, don't have time, no bullshit. Just tell me what I need and tell me what can fix this because I just want to get it fixed and then get back to my busy life. So, but yeah, love it.
So did you always want to run your own business or did it unfold over time as you were kind of working in the clinic?
It just happened. I didn't think I'd grow this much. And it just happened. Just the clients kept coming in and I just needed to expand. I needed more space. I needed more staff. We moved into skin, had one dermal therapist. They were then fully booked. I needed a second dermal therapist. And I'd bought this commercial space that I was renovating and it's a beautiful Queenslander in Cairns. And so now I've got 5 rooms there and yeah, it's just great. And I rent a room out to a brow tech as well. So you can get everything done in the one place. That's what I really wanted.
So with rapid expansion comes a whole bunch of new challenges and hurdles. How did you
and debt.
navigate that? Like, were you just doing everything yourself? Did you invest in any help? Did you have an advisor? Like, or have you just winged it the whole way through?
I feel like I've just winged it. It was actually one of my employees. Her husband was a builder.
Yeah.
And it just happened. I was like, does he fancy doing a reno? And she was like, I'll ask him. He was in the mines, wanted to come home. It all just fell into place. And he was like, yeah, sure, I'll do a Queenslander. And it really just all happened, I feel, as it was meant to. I didn't think I'd ever be a business owner and have staff. I still don't feel like the boss. I'm like, where's the adult? Who's the adult round here? Who do I go to for help? But I really, really just enjoy the industry. I enjoy what I do. I spend a lot of my home life actually listening to podcasts, researching, doing training as well. And I used to feel really bad about that because I said, oh my God, I need to get a life because all I do is I'm at work with people all day. And then when I come home, I'm doing the same thing. And it was another podcast I was listening to and they turned it round. They said, because I was like, I don't really have hobbies. Like my work, I love my work. Then I come home and I do a bit more work. And they turned it round and said, but how good that your hobby is your job. And I was like, yes, that is how I feel because I get to do something amazing every day.
Oh, I love that so much. And you know what?
Yeah.
I think there is almost this pressure of everyone shouting at you that you should prioritize work-life balance. But then there's the other half of people shouting at you saying like you're never going to be successful if you don't give it your all. And then it's like work 5 hours a week and you'll make, $500,000 and, or just prioritize, waking up slow mornings. And then it's just like, but all these people who are successful, I look at Rachel from Love Beauty that's been on the podcast, Celine from Brow Tribe, there's all these different people that I've had, Tara Shaw, even yourself. What makes these people incredible business owners is their level of obsession, and it's actually, Rachel stands out to me just because when I interviewed her, this is obviously a business podcast, right? So I like to talk about the business side. But she would just go straight back into how obsessed she was with acne. And you could just tell that was her zone of genius. She was so passionate about it. Like, I think when I look at Celine, it's about the client experience and the brand behind it. But like each person, you can actually pick apart one thing that they are highly obsessed with. And they've done it so well to the point that like clients see it. Everyone feels that they are that industry leader. They are that expert in that place. And I think when you try to be everything to everyone or you don't really invest in trying to make anything better, you're just kind of like,
you're floating along, which is fine for some people. That's what they want.
Yeah, but if you want to go big, you have to be obsessed with what you do. You can't half-ass it. Like this podcast, the amount of time I have spent listening to podcasts, researching, not just picking a guest out of thin air, like going, okay, who do I want? What topics do I want to curate? And then where can I go and find a location? How can I level this up? Like there's just so much that goes into it. Imagine if Stephen Bartlett just half-assed everything he did. Like he wouldn't be where he is today. Like it's just insane when you have that level of this is what I want to achieve and this is how I'm going to do it. Like nothing else matters.
But how fucking annoying is it when people are like, oh, about luck, it's been luck. I had someone say this to me recently and they were like, oh, you're very lucky. And I'm like, and it was a new client. Maybe she'll come back, maybe she won't. But anyway, I was like, it's not luck, actually. It's not luck. I've worked really hard to get to where I am. And I was like, this isn't what it is. It's not luck at all.
Honestly, Katy, I think if you shared more behind the scenes of what you've actually done to get where you are, you wouldn't have that comment. I don't think I ever have anyone's, like I was thinking about this the other night. I've never had someone say to me, oh, you're so lucky, because I think I share so much of how hard it is that people are like, I wouldn't want to be you.
Yeah, that's it. They're like, no thanks. And it's not for everyone. It's not for the faint-hearted because you do have to, you make sacrifices but I don't mind making them sacrifices because I love what I do. So it works out for me. Yeah.
That's it. I wanted to come back to the chain versus having your own boutique clinic because there's a recent guest I had on, Shamara, and she came from being in a chain, and it's quite interesting to see, like, you get given policies, procedures, resources, support when you're in a chain clinic versus if you're not in a franchise, you're doing it all yourself. You don't have necessarily that guidance unless you have a mentor, you have someone else whose business you've bought and they've built all of that out.
Yes,
What
absolutely.
were some of the biggest differences that you've noticed?
It's fucking relentless when you have your own place, basically, because when you have a chain clinic, you also you turn up on the day and the clients are booked in. You don't book clients in. The clinic books clients in. So when you knock off there, you're knocked off. You don't have to worry about stock, ordering, money. You just focus on you and you get your wage every fortnight, you know. Whereas when it's your own business, as you'll know, you don't stop. There's always something that we have to be doing. And for some people, and even for a while, I was like, it's so much easier at a chain clinic. It really is, because you turn up, you do your job, you go home. If there's any complaints or any issues, they contact the franchise, they book them in with you for a review. You don't have anything. Whereas when it's your own business, people feel very connected to you as well. And I love that. I love that our clients come in and they're like, I love hanging out here. It's like I'm just with friends, and that's what I've wanted. But that also means that boundaries need to be in place, because there's messages at 10 p.m. at night and 5 a.m. in the morning, and we have to, at first it was very difficult because it was just me. I was replying, I'd spend all evening on my phone, and my partner was like, you're on your phone all the time. I'm like, I know, but I've got to. And my first hire was actually who's my clinic manager now, and it was for 3 days a week to reply to messages, phone calls, things like that. I think it was 2 weeks at that. And then I was like, I need you full time. I can't do this. And she's been my best hire. Absolutely.
What lessons did you take from your time in chain clinics that really helped you shape the boutique clinic experience you offer now?
I wanted to be different. I didn't want to do what I'd learned in the chain clinic at all. It's very money focused. It's very in and out. You know, and I had issues with the owner when I first started there, because she would tell me I needed to upsell more and I wouldn't. And I said, I'm doing what the patient needs. I'm not doing what you want me to sell. And in turn, that means they come back to you and you get a great rapport and they trust you and you don't oversell. So I made her more money that way. But initially it was like, why aren't you doing the 60 unit package instead of the 40? You know, it's very packaged focused and not unique. So I knew when I left there, that's not what I'm doing. Everything's unique to the individual that's in front of me as they come in. And I wanted a warm, comfortable environment, not rushed, and not where you walk out and you've got red dots all over your face and you're in the middle of a shopping centre. I've got a private car park. No one, it just looks like a beautiful house. And they leave, they're in their own car and they go home. So if there is downtime, they don't have to be seen by everyone. So I just wanted that real warmth instead of clinical, in, out, fast, take the money, get them back in, get them over to laser, get them over to this, get them over to that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. And it's also, I think from a business owner perspective, buying into a franchise also owning a shop in a shopping centre, it's very different from having your own commercial space that isn't attached to a shopping centre. Like back in 2007, my dad, he did a fit out in Westfield Carousel, and, you know, the overheads of that were over $100,000. And then they're like, oh yeah, we need $5,000 for our marketing fees. And then, we have to do a refit every 5 years. Like there's just so many different strings attached that I think when these people are in the shopping centres, they usually are franchises because small players can't afford to be in there. But they have to hit those KPIs, otherwise they go under. And you look at the number of shops that are closing down, and I don't think in the next 10 to 20 years we're going to see all these cute boutique, smaller stores just in general, whether it's retail, beauty. It's always going to be those bigger companies who have multi-stores across the whole country that can afford to do that. So it's going to be very interesting to see how that changes as well.
Yeah, but people are moving away from chain clinics now, I have found. Like people don't want that slapdash quick in out anymore. And I think because people have moved more towards that regenerative health and prevention rather than fixing. It's starting with good skincare. It's SPF, it's your basics, and so they don't want that in-out invasive treatment. We're trying to prevent now, which is great.
Even the marketing though, I look at, for example, laser clinics, and their marketing is always sales. I look at Ella Bache. It's very old. It's outdated. These brands are dying with, the innovations, and people love these founder-led brands. They love user-generated content. They like supporting, someone who's more connected to them. Whereas I think back in the day, all these big brands, you were buying from brands, but now you're buying from people. Like Nike, they have ambassadors. You can see how all these different kind of brands that have stayed as brands and they don't have any faces to them or any influencers or ambassadors or people that are representing them. They're just falling behind. For nurses or therapists who are listening and they're thinking about opening up their own space, what would you say that probably don't realise until they're in it?
It is a lot of work. It is not your usual, you go to work in the hospital and you do your shift and you come home. You can't do that if you're going to be successful. And also with all the new changes that have happened, I feel with the TGA, Queensland Health, APRA, it's actually really difficult now for people to be starting out in this industry. We can't show before and after pictures. We can't use client testimonials. So if you're new coming into a nurse into injectables, how the hell do you advertise? How do you get people through your door when someone like me who has been around for a long time, I've got a client base, I've already got a reputation, I've got the reviews. Yes, I've taken down all my before and after photos on social media, but I've already got a client base, and word of mouth is the greatest thing. So as a new nurse coming out, I imagine it's really hard now to be doing cosmetic injectables. And that's where I do feel like the chain clinics do come in, because you can go there and get good training, and there's still a client base there until you build your clientele up and then want to leave. But it's a hard industry. It's not very supportive as well, with regards to, it's just very competition, and I hate that. I actually get along well with a lot of the injectors locally, but it's just not, it's quite a bitchy industry, which I feel is just the beauty industry as well.
It is superficial, and it is, to an extent. Like you can't, it is,
I hate it.
There is a level of that comes with it.
Yeah. And there's enough work for us all. That's the truth to it. So just support each other. It's that whole competition thing. It's community, not competition. Just help each other out. I help other people out. They help me out. You run short on stock. Okay, can you help me out for 2 days till my order comes? And it's not a problem. And that's how it should be. So it's quite a lonely world if you don't have that support network around you.
I don't think if I didn't have this podcast, I probably wouldn't have half the meaningful relationships and people to call on when I need, I have an idea or I need someone to talk to, it's just I remember the first week I just got my lash certificate. This is ages ago. And, they were talking about, hey, how long can I get my lashes wet for after I've had them put on? And I just had done my training. So I was like, you got to wait 24 hours. And at the time, that was what it was. But then I had this other lady, she had this massive go at my comment saying you know nothing about lashes. This is incorrect. And she just thought tearing me down is going to make her look better, or I don't know what it was. But that was my first experience. And so trying to make friends or putting yourself out there, there's still that level of is there going to be rejection? And I've also had the opposite where it's they come on really strong. It's they're love bombing you and they're like, oh my gosh, it's so amazing. And the next minute they're taking your course. They're now selling the content as their own and they're copying your content. And you're like, what is going on?
Copying content, that drives me nuts.
Such a real thing. But I think that's also when you're running a business, doesn't matter what industry you're in, there's always going to be people like that. And
that's it. Yeah.
If you're doing well, people are going to copy you. They're going to try to tear you down. It's Australia. There's tall poppy syndrome. You can only have a certain level of success until people start to go, oh, I don't like you anymore.
Yeah. And it gets to the end of the day now, I just don't care. I actually don't care what anyone else thinks about me. I'm busy, my clients are happy, my team's happy. That's all that matters at the end of the day to me. So I don't waste my time on it anymore. Yeah.
Literally. I know you travel to some of the most remote parts of the country to deliver cosmetic injectables. What has that experience been like?
Oh my God, I just love it. I was there actually yesterday. I was in Mount Isa for the day. So these are small rural towns, mining towns. So I go to Mount Isa and I go to Weipa, which is right up north in Queensland. It's just great. The people are just so happy to have someone coming out to provide services for them. That's the main thing. They're living up there. It's remote living. There's one Woolworths, there's one cafe, there's no Macca's, there's nothing like that. But there's still women, and so many women work in the mines now, which I freaking love, but they still want to feel feminine. They still want to look after themselves. They still want skin treatments. They still want injectables. So that started about 6 years ago. And it's very rewarding because they truly appreciate you.
How do you promote
everything that you do for them in the community
and get that marketing out there? Obviously, like, how does that work?
Yeah, because it's hard with marketing as well. Yeah, so initially, because this was many years ago, we were allowed to promote a bit more than what we are now. Yeah. It was just a local Facebook page.
Oh, yeah.
And I just promoted it on there saying, I'm coming up into town. This is my services. This is where I'll be working out of. And I ended up now, I go for 3 days up to Weipa now because it is just so busy. And it just grew from there. And I have a good rapport with my clients. So when they come down to Cairns, they come and see me here. And I time it that I go to Weipa every 3 months. It's when their anti-wrinkle is due. So we just rebook. And still quite transient towns, but it's a small town, word of mouth. They just really appreciate it. So once they found me, they're like, yeah, that's it. Great. And I've now moved into my dermotherapists go up there now every month to perform skin treatments as well. And initially I was like, that's only been since like the beginning of this year. And that's just gone crazy as well. So now it's, again, bringing it all together. My clients are having even better results. Their anti-wrinkle is lasting longer because now they're getting their skin treatments as well up there. But yeah, it's an amazing place. You know, you're driving along. Oh, there's a croc just there on the sandbank as you're driving along. It's just really interesting people as well.
That's absolutely wild. And like as a trainer, how did you get into training? Like what is the standard? What is the technique? Like how does that all happen?
Yeah, so I use Allergan products and I use some other products as well, but mainly Allergan. And I'm a large account for them. So I'm usually number 1 or number 2 in Queensland with how many products I go through. Okay. And they know my passion. They know what I'm like. And they asked me if I wanted to be one of their clinical nurse trainers. So I think there's about 6 of us in the country, 6 or 7 of us. And this was a position that they rolled out a couple of years ago now because their trainers were actually nurses. So they can't actually hold a needle and inject with their trainers. So it was a real gap that they needed to bring in nurses who are experienced so that they can hands-on and say, oh, just move this, adjust your needle, etc. to the younger people coming through. So they approached me. Initially, I was like, oh, do I have time for this? But I love education. I loved education when I worked in intensive care as well. I worked as an educator there and for new grad nurses and student nurses. So it was only going to happen in this as well. But I love sharing knowledge. Again, with this business where it's so competitive, I actually really enjoy sharing knowledge. And I'd rather have safer practitioners out there than my ego thinking, oh my God, they're going to take my clients. Like, if we can bring the standard up for everyone, that's way better for clients and us. So yeah, they asked me and then it just rolled from there.
That's amazing. And so how often are you doing training now? Do you travel around Australia or do you have people come to you? How does it work?
I go to them. So I cover like far north Queensland and then I've been down a bit. I often go between Cairns and Townsville. So it's really good actually. I cover Cairns for Allergan and it was funny initially because the feedback was from the other places, well, she works here. she works in Cairns. That's going to be competition. Why would she come and teach us? And it was a couple of places were like that. And my regional manager, like, Katie's not like that at all. Once you meet her, you'll know. And sure enough, once I met them, we're just talking. We talk business. I'm very open with my numbers and everything and what business things I do, what can help them, and likewise. And then we're training to just increase the skills. So I do a lot in Cairns. I go down to Townsville as well. And then occasionally I go a bit further south. So wherever's needed, but because my business is my priority, I just do this maybe once a month, something like that, for a full day and see a couple of places, usually about 3 or 4 people.
So right now, for the people who are doing nursing and they're going, oh, I want to step into injectables, what does that look like? Do they come straight to someone like you? Is there a certain academy or training, like, or just because they've studied it and they can put needles in, they can just do it if they wanted to? Like, how does that work?
Well, this is the big thing with the industry. This is a very big question, Sammy. So recently, APRA, which is our Nursing Regulatory Board, has on, I think it was only a couple of months ago, if you just complete your registered nursing at uni, you then have to work full-time in the hospital for 1 year until they will allow you to go into cosmetic aesthetics. So you have to have experience in the hospital first, which I think is good, but it's still also very individual. I took a nurse on straight out of uni. She's also 32, being a police officer, has lots of life skills, has always wanted to do this. So I didn't have a problem with that. I think we need to have life experience to come into this job as well. So they have to do 1 year in the hospital, and then there is no strict avenue to get into it, which is very hard. It's not particularly recognised within the nursing industry and medical industry. I feel that will all be changing in the next probably couple of years because of what's happened with Queensland Health recently, the TGA, APRA. They need to make a better pathway for it so it's safer for everyone. It's safer for us, it's safer for clients. But right now you could just, as long as you're a nurse, after you've done your 1 year, you just need to sign up with a scripting team, and it depends on them, the level of training that they provide and what they deem appropriate to get you competent to then treat clients. So that's where the chain clinics work well, because you have high volume of numbers and a lot of training. If you're going out on your own, you're not going to have them numbers coming through the door to actually really refine your skills and get comfortable at what you're doing. But yeah, it's quite an open book really as to going into injectables. There's a few different avenues for people.
Yeah, it's really interesting. Like, I have one girl I went to school with. She was only studying to become a nurse so she could do injectables. And obviously she would maybe have graduated a year ago. I can't remember the timeline because it's been like 5 or 6 years since I've been out of high school now. But obviously she would have finished that if she was doing it full time. But with all the changes, it's like, what are you meant to do? And when you're in a regional town too, and that's not a popular thing, there aren't people for you to shadow from. It just raises so many alarm bells of like, where are you meant to get that expertise level of training or have someone to mentor you so that you're not just in the dark?
Yeah. And it's a medical treatment that we're performing. It's a medical procedure, and there are risks to that, and things can go ugly and go wrong. So you need support, you really do. And that's why choosing a good prescribing team, because it's a scheduled medication, so we all need a doctor as a registered nurse to prescribe for us. Basing yourself and using a good prescribing team that will support you, I think, is paramount, because I have a very good relationship with the prescribing team that I use, which is Fresh Clinics. And I know I can message the owner, one of the Johns who run Fresh Clinics, at 9 p.m. at night if I'm concerned. I know I can text him and he will call me. And you need that support, and especially as a junior. So I've also had people shadow me to see if this is actually what they wanted to do. They're already registered nurses and just like, can I spend the day with you? I'm like, yeah, sure. Come and see if it's for you. It's not for everyone. So,
because I know with health degrees, like once you've graduated, you have 40 to 70 to 100 hours of professional development that you need to do every year in order to maintain that
Yeah.
license. And when you look at nursing and specifically injectables, I guess you wouldn't need to specifically do upskilling in injectables. It would just be general nursing, wouldn't it?
Yeah. So we have our CPD hours that we have to do for APRA each year as well. And we do keep it appropriate to what industry you're working in, because as part of our regulations, it is saying, like, I think it's the area that you work in, have you upskilled or whatever. So usually one conference a year, full 3-4 day conference, is enough for all your CPD hours as a cosmetic nurse, and it will sign everything off for you. And that's good because the industry, there is a lot of conferences in Australia as well that we can attend, and you learn so much from them. These are the top doctors in our, like, worldwide come to these events as well. So you have to really put yourself out there to learn. If you just sit back and wait for clients to come and watching YouTube, which, yes, is great, you get some skills, but you have to put yourself out there. You have to get known if you want to be busy.
I think the other thing is, Australia is relatively far behind. Going and looking at who are the top people here, but then you look somewhere in like Korea or you look somewhere in America, like, I'm not discrediting that there aren't talented people here in Australia. There 100% are, but it's not usually Australia who is bringing out the innovative new technique or products. It's usually we're adapting or following.
It's Korea.
Yeah.
They're all over it. Yeah. And we just follow on. I compare to the UK a lot, obviously, because I'm from there, and that's very unsafe and backwards over there.
I'm so concerned. Like, I'm like 100% pointing it out here. I look at those TV shows like Geordie Shore and I'm like,
oh gosh,
that's like, if that was a child, I would say that's child abuse, but what's the adult version for that? That's just like a no-no, you just don't let someone get to that stage. And I also look at other people and I go, at what stage do you think this is too much? And I can speak from my own personal experience with lash blindness. You start with classics and then you get hybrid and then you get volume, and next second you've got these black freaking flappy birds and you're like, I look great. And then when I got rid of my lashes, I was like, oh my gosh, what was I doing? But beauty
and body dysmorphia,
social media, there's so many different things that are just contributing.
Yeah. And body dysmorphia is a massive thing in the day and time that we live in now, and it's good that we have a screening tool now. Before we do scripts, we have to check that there's no signs of body dysmorphia legally before we treat anybody. But I feel in the UK, they just keep filling and filling. Well, these are non-medics injecting as well. They're not nurses. They've done a 2-hour course and they could have worked in Coles the week before, so and I think they see it as it's just a money. They just fill rather than doing ethically what's right.
Yes. And, there's a lot of people out there who they don't care about the client results. They see, oh my gosh, there's money to be made here. Let's make money. And it never works out. Have there been any really bad cases that have happened in Australia over the last, 1 to 2 years?
I don't think so, particularly. Worst case scenario, what can happen with injectables is actually blindness from dermal fillers to, generally, it occurs from the nose filler, frown filler or forehead filler. But my prescribing team won't prescribe for us to treat those areas, as a lot of other prescribing clinics won't as well. So I think that's reducing the risks. I actually don't think there's been that many. I think there's been 2 cases Australia-wide ever of blindness. So
I'm just having really a look now. There was one in Sydney, at the start of this year, 24th of January, there was a few women who had anti-wrinkle injection at a private home, and
that was a dodgy botulism, wasn't it? Yeah, that they'd bought from eBay or something. It wasn't correct product. Yeah,
that is concerning. And you know what? It's not just like injectables; it's beauty. And the reason why I'm asking these questions, I'm dumb, and I just want it to be explained. I don't understand why. And I'm obviously not a politician and can go in and change all the things. I'm just like, okay, so if I were to go out and get Botox, who am I trusting?
Yeah. So that person obviously just is thinking about money. So they've bought it cheaper off eBay. They're doing it from home, which you're not legally allowed to do. And look what it's resulted in, harming people. And as our ethical, one of our main things as a nurse is do no harm.
Yes.
What are you doing? And I think looking at reputation is always good when you're looking for a provider. Word of mouth, like so many people are doing this now. Who do your friends go to? And straight away, trust your gut. You know when you walk into a place, if you walk into my clinic, it's clean, it's fresh, you're welcomed, it's professional. If you're going to a home, which there's kids running around, the washing's on in the background,
Needles.
that's not telling you, that it's the highest standard,
I actually always get really uncomfortable when I see people bring dogs into their salon.
Ugh.
And I know it might be cute and it's a little marketing thing, but I'm like,
it's cleanliness though.
Yeah.
You're working in a clean environment. I don't agree. Like, I love animals. I'd love to. The girls at work are always like, can we have a dog for the clinic? I'm like, no, we're injecting people's faces. We don't want infections and dog hairs blowing round.
When I was at uni and you're in clinic, like, I guess any health degree, and I'm probably going to have to say the same for skin therapists too, because they would also, and cosmetic tattooing. Like when you're dealing with needles, there's obviously a level you have to operate at. But when I did beauty, I didn't really get taught hygiene other than spray with alcohol. But when I was at uni, it was all about, the 6 movements of hand washing. Yeah. Anytime you touch one thing, you've got to re-sanitize your hand. Here's the situations when you actually have to wash them. This needs to go into the needles bin. The needle bin has to be emptied this specific way. You actually need to document and report this. There was a lot more involved. And I think when we look at the beauty industry, this is where it is concerning because there isn't that level of regulation and people aren't guiding them on how to actually keep clients safe. It's about teaching them the skill set to get a great result. Both are equally as important.
Absolutely. And earlier this year, last year it was, we actually we spent a good probably 6 weeks and we did all our policies and protocols because as we'd grown and got this big clinic and we got a grant from the government as well. They were doing it for offering to help with HR stuff. So let's apply for this and got all our policies and protocols. And I was like, literally anything that we do during the day, how you unlock the door and the code needs to be wrote on a policy because anyone needs to be able to come in here and work here also and know how to do everything that we do and what's expected. So your hand hygiene, emptying of your sharps, who collects the sharps bins, when do they collect them? We clean, wipe down the rooms every single day and we hoover and mop every single day, right up on the tops. That's all as a policy. So when you're starting, and actually one of my dermal therapists that I took on, the younger one, I texted her after I did the interview and I was like, because I loved her immediately, she was great, but I was like, she came from a chain clinic. I said, my standards are very high and they won't be altering. I have policies and procedures for everything. So if you're coming to work here, I need you to know that I have very high expectations of you and I expect A, B, and C. If this isn't for you, it's absolutely fine, no worries. But I set it out very clearly at the beginning. And it works well then because they come in knowing what your expectations are.
Yeah. And you don't want that kind of grey area where it's like, can I do this? Should I just get lazy and, not worry about it? And then once that boundary is being crossed, it's not going to stand strong. They're just going to keep walking over it and seeing what else can I get away with?
Absolutely, yeah. And that's when you need to nip that toxic environment. You need to nip it in the bud very early. Otherwise, it does just keep escalating.
There's an increasing pressure around ethical advertising, scope of practice and duty of care. What do business owners and injectors need to be more mindful of now with all these changes?
Yeah, so definitely with regards to APRA, this year has been, last year now, 2024, with regards to before and after photos, we're not allowed to use them. We've actually never been allowed to use them showing our work because it's a scheduled medication. So it's like morphine, fentanyl. You can't advertise that. And it's the same with injectables. But they've been very lenient for a long time and then they cracked down last year. So from a marketing point of view, they're very strict now as well. And you can get fines. And if you get a couple of fines, you can then get jail time as well if you're not abiding by this. I feel it's very simple. You just remove all your before and afters, which is what they told us to do. But people always try to find loopholes around it and just follow the bloody guidelines in the first place and we wouldn't have this.
If you don't
So with the
follow the
market,
simple guidelines, then they'll just crack
oh,
down and make them 10 times worse for everyone to
yeah,
prove a point.
and that's literally what's happened to our industry. Queensland Health, there's been changes this year. Just in September, they changed with regards to having an on-site practitioner, so a nurse practitioner or a doctor. I feel that will probably will go to the other states as well in the next couple of years as well. It started with Tassie a couple of years ago, Queensland Health this year, which has been really hard for businesses as well to find a doctor or a nurse practitioner that will come on board and work with you to prescribe for you. But there is just lots of changes happening. But this is our regulatory board. You've just got to do the right thing, basically, to keep us all working. Otherwise, they will try to push us out. And I do feel like they want nurses back in the workforce, in the hospital, rather than in these businesses.
100%. I was about to say,
Yeah.
Do you think post-COVID, with everyone leaving and deciding to go start their own businesses, and then the workload, like there's just too much going on and not enough staff, they're trying to find a way to force them back in?
Yeah. And like a lot of us feel like that. We're mainly, and it's really sad, mainly women, it's women in this industry. So that means we most likely have children as well. So we've gone out of this hospital workforce because shift work is hard for us with children as well.
Yep.
And then they're trying to drive us back into it is what it feels like, because there's a shortage of nurses, but they also don't look after nurses in the hospital. I've done my time. I did 17 years in a hospital. You're just a number. You are just a number and you're replaceable. Whereas in my clinic, you're a person, and if one of my team left, I'd be devastated, And yes, you can find new staff, but it's very different compared to you are just a number at the hospital.
Yeah. My mum's a nurse, and I just know she works in DPU, so she's
day procedure,
just high pressure, high stress, and go. To see that, I guess for her, that's where she thrives and she enjoys it and that's her focus time. But, it's very demanding, and I could see why someone would want to leave but still have their skills put to the test and not have to throw away and just go work retail, or, you know what I mean, completely change careers.
Yeah. And also money-wise, nursing is quite well paid. We also don't want to then drop our pay if we're going off to do something else, and just because we want out of shift work.
So what do you think this means for the sole traders who have gone and left the hospital? They're just working for themselves. Like with you, if you were to bring a doctor or a clinical nurse on board, you can afford to pay them because you've got multiple injectors, you've got a large client base. But what about for the person who's just working on their own financially? Is that going to impact them?
Absolutely, yeah. So I've got a nurse practitioner on board now. But other places, a lot of people don't work 5 days a week. So there's been two options really for people this year in Queensland. One is what we call the pharmacy model, where say you're a client, you come to me, we have a consultation on the day, we FaceTime my doctor for the script, and then you come back 3 days later because I don't keep the stock on hand. It has to be prescribed from them, sent to the pharmacy. I go pick it up, and then you come back 3 days later and actually get your treatment.
How is that doctor meant to be available though?
Yeah, so that's like through the prescribing teams that we use, like Fresh Clinics and the others.
So they have doctors on standby, you call them up?
Yeah. And there's usually about 6 available, so you can get through because they're large prescribing teams, But your client can't get treatment on the day. They have to come back a few days later when the product's arrived, so you don't hold any stock of the product. So for people that only work 1 day a week, it's not going to work. You're going to need to increase your days. Also, it's going to decrease your revenue because you're having to see people twice in a week. So can't see as many clients. So that's one option that you have. Your other option is you find a doctor or a nurse practitioner to come on board with your clinic. So I knew this would be happening when they started talking about this. So I sourced someone earlier on this year. But a lot of clinics will probably shut down and will have shut down already because of these changes with Queensland Health. And, sometimes it's not always a bad thing. I feel like it will weed out a bit of the
people who aren't the people that do the right thing.
Yeah, that's it, yeah. You put it way nicer than me. I like weed out the crap. So yeah, it's been hard for a lot of people and stressful, but you've had to make your decision of what avenue you're going to go down with that. But definitely what they call the pharmacy model is very impactful to your business and your revenue, because you're having to consult them twice, and the time and the pay. Yeah.
All right. So let me ask some questions just so I can understand this as someone who's not in the industry. So if I'm wanting to hire someone in my clinic, I'm going to have to look at 80 to 150K for that person's wage, depending on their credentials and their hours?
Could be, yes. So the thing is, with Queensland Health, they have still not given us clear guidelines of how frequently the nurse practitioner or the doctor has to physically be in clinic. So this is really annoying. We're still in limbo with this. So if they only have to come in for 8 hours a fortnight, can pay them for that 8 hours a fortnight. Okay. If they need to be there 5 days a week, obviously that's going to be a lot more. I don't think many nurse practitioners or doctors will be willing to do that, because how do they do their own job?
Yeah,
as
exactly.
well, because often they're GPs, nurse practitioners working elsewhere as well. So unless you come up with agreements with them with regards to, if you're now going to be my scripting doctor as well, a scripting nurse practitioner, I will do all my scripts through you, so you get paid what I'd usually pay another doctor for prescribing, which is usually about $25 a script, and work it that way. It really comes down to very individual in your clinic and what you want to be doing.
Yep. And then another thing that comes to mind is, okay, if I'm charging, let's say $500 to $800 for some Botox or some filler, and now they're not buying that through me, they see the price tag of that, right? So you've got to pay the doctor to write that script up. They see the price tag and they buy it. What are you meant to be charging for this service now?
Yeah, that's it. So, and also for clients as well, because if they're doing the pharmacy model, you want them to pay some upfront because you're paying upfront for the cost of the product. So, but they're going to be like, well, I can see the price of the product. Why are you charging me this much? And I feel that's about knowing your worth, though, in business with what you're charging. I know my worth. I'm good at what I do. I am a higher end clinic with higher end prices, and I just own it. I'm like, I go to training all the time. I go overseas. I got sponsored to go to Monaco. I'm good at what I do. I know, right?
I want to go to Monaco for the F1, so next time, let's go.
Yeah. My +1 is coming. I think it's about knowing your worth and your pricing as well. But a lot of the nurse practitioners and doctors, they don't have a big passion for this. They're doing it from a scripting side. They actually don't want to be injecting and hands-on. They want to just do the scripting side.
Yeah. So a customer now, they're going to go and get that script. Let's say I wanted – actually, how does the scripting work too? Like, do you know how so you do the consultation, you would have to go, okay, this is how many units that person needs. The doctor gives that many units. What about these people that need that little extra top up? Do you have to repeat that process again? You can't keep if there's additional on stock, or are you over ordering a little bit and then you do it
Yeah, so this is where it's a real pain in the ass for that pharmacy model, because you literally, they FaceTime to do the face-to-face with the doctor. So as the nurse, the client comes in, you'll do the consultation, you'll make the dosage suggestions, you'll call your doctor, they'll FaceTime with the client, they'll agree with or disagree with dosaging, then they send that specific dosaging out. So at that 2-week mark, when we get people back, and maybe they need a dose adjustment and they need 1-2 extra units, you have to do the same process again. So I feel like this model won't work long term for people, the practitioners who have had to go down that route, because it's too hard and it's too expensive, because again, you're seeing your clients more frequently, but no money's coming in from them 4 appointments then, say, for a bit of Botox.
It's going to be a huge shift, hey? Like, I'm just thinking in my head, my doctor, she would probably be the perfect person when, they're having 3 kids across a period of time. They're looking for maybe a couple days of work part-time. You can just call them. That would be the dream person for you to have in your clinic, because you have so much more control, better communication.
Yep.
It's all in that same kind of ecosystem, whereas going through all these 10 different steps.
Yeah. And I don't feel like that's safer doing it the other way, the pharmacy model. I don't feel like what Queensland Health have brought out makes that any safer than us being on site. Because it's all about the handling of the stock. It's all about, as a nurse, we can't order the stock. So it has to be a nurse practitioner or a doctor. That's all this comes down to. It's not the actual injecting. It's about the ordering and handling of the stock.
Yeah.
And it's basically saying that we can't be trusted in a way as a registered nurse to keep that stock. But yet we have all our compliance that we have to do every month anyway. It's locked cupboards. It's keeping track of everything. Every unit is taken, note of, and it has to balance at the end of each day with the stock, what you've got in your cupboard, and your stock, which is reported on file as well. We do it in the hospital environment all the time with our controlled drugs. It's exactly the same. But
I guess they're literally treating it like ketamine. Like if you had ketamine on hand, someone said, hey, I want some ket, and you gave them, then like they're literally treating it at that level.
Yeah, and it's exactly the same, which I agree with. But now we're not trusted to be able to do that count and handle the product. So
what would you have to do to become a clinical practitioner nurse? Like what additional training, or what does that look like?
Yeah, so this is again where it's really difficult, because you can become a nurse practitioner in Australia. There is no avenue to become a nurse practitioner in aesthetics. That's not an option. It's not out there. They don't have a course for that. They're not interested in doing that.
Is it from emergency? Like, do you have to go through?
So, yeah, there's emergency, there's ICU, there's dermatology. So if I, went on to become a nurse practitioner, I would have to choose a totally different pathway of my career. So I'd have to go and do maybe ICU nurse practitioner, which means I then have to leave my job, doing what I'm doing now, because it will be, I have to work in that area
full time
to be doing a nurse practitioner. So you can't keep doing your aesthetics work.
Oh, God. This sounds like a big nightmare. Like, honestly, I think it's okay for the people who are already established and they're willing to do what they need to do. I also think the sole traders will be pushed out. That is my kind of feeling about everything.
Agree.
Because you just can't front the cost of one person working a couple of days a week seeing clients. Like, you would need teams, you would need an established client base to be able to cover the costs of having that person in-house. It's like when people go and hire in beauty and they say, oh, you need to make 3.5 times your wage and, then you can get your bonuses. I'm like, that doesn't really make sense if you have non-revenue generating staff.
Yes.
So if you have a receptionist, if you have managers, if you have clinic coordinators, whatever you want to call them, if you have that prescribing doctor or nurse, they're actually not generating revenue because they're not providing the service. So you've actually got to factor in to your profit margins and your pricing that you can actually afford to pay those people even though they're not bringing in money to the business.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. But how interesting is looking at your numbers. I never used to be a numbers girl, but now I love it, looking at my profit and losses and everything each month. It's so exciting.
That's the difference though, like when you shift that avoidance and anxiety to excitement and like, okay, this is going to be fun, or how can we improve this? It gets to be exciting. But I think too many people live in that fear and that avoidance, and then they get reactive, and then they're only checking it when it's at their absolute worst, not when it's doing well.
Yes.
So many things there. So there's often tension between skin therapists and nurses in this industry. I've even had a couple clients who are skin therapists go, oh, this nurse is now just offering these products and she's not even trained in skin. What are we doing to actually improve these relationships, and how do you think we can better collaborate rather than compete?
Yeah. So I feel a lot of this has happened because of all the regulation changes as well. Because as a nurse, we can't showcase our before and afters anymore, we've had to move into skin because that's all we can show for marketing and social media. But I feel like majority of us, and me definitely, I don't want to work doing skin. That's not my passion. And that's why we have to grow and adapt to, okay, how can we make this work for everyone? Best for the client, like I say, but also, yes, these nurses, we've had to move into skincare to showcase, that's all we can showcase. But would it not be better having a dermotherapist work alongside you who is very passionate about skincare, does know more than me as a nurse that's never done skin stuff, But like I say, I'm proactive. I've learned a lot now because I'm actually very passionate about skin now as well. But if you've got someone that doesn't particularly want to be doing skin needling and peels, I know I don't want that fluffy stuff to be doing it on people. I want to be doing my skills, which is injecting. Shouldn't we just be working alongside each other? A dermal therapist can't do our skills. We haven't trained. Yes, we could do your skills as a beauty therapist, but majority of us don't want to. That's not what we want to do. So how about we work together and we get the best outcomes for clients and for us, because we both get to do what we really love doing, but holistically together.
100%. I think everything ties in. Like if you haven't got the skincare there and you're just putting injections in there, not going to work. If you're, not eating well, you're not exercising, you're not looking after yourself, like absolutely nothing's going to work. Like there's so many different things that all flow into each other. And I think people, especially in beauty, they've been trained for quick fixes, and some of these problems are not quick fixes. And
they are not.
It's up to everyone to actually talk about, hey, if you've created this problem over a long period of time, well, guess what? It's probably going to take a little while for you to start reversing that.
Yeah, that's it, And we can get great results when you're working together. Like your clients feel better, look better.
Have you got an example of an amazing result you've been able to achieve through both having your dermal therapist and an injector giving a client a treatment?
A lot of my clients actually, because obviously I only moved into skin a year ago. I have a couple of real standouts of my more mature clients. I've done lots of work on them. They look amazing, but that skin, the glycation, the sun damage, I couldn't particularly do anything for that. And that's when the dermal therapists were on board. It was easy for me to transition over, and now the results are next level. Like they look even better now, and they're not needing as much treatments from me either because their skin's in better health. And then we also look at gut health as well. Are you taking your Fem21 and your omegas, etc. as well? So a lot of my clients have absolutely big changes from seeing both of us.
I think it's super important. Like, we used to have a lot of naturopaths in clinic, and they would be saying, look, this is probably a naturopath thing, but then this is when the skin therapist comes in. And I've actually found the same. I think skin therapists are now collaborating with naturopaths because yes, you can understand things across the board, but you've got to know that scope of practice, when's the right time to refer, and like you don't want to get yourself into some troubled waters. You know what? Completely off topic. One of the worst grey areas to ever exist, I think, has to be nutrition, because you can't even prescribe diets or meal plans or anything as a nutritionist. You have to become a dietitian. But then you've got all these incredible personal trainers who understand macros, they understand nutrients, they know what works, but technically they're actually not allowed to be promoting meal plans and things. So it's just like there are situations where it's like people have studied, they understand, they've been obsessed, like, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to know this stuff, but there's also like you can't really, or you shouldn't be doing it. It's a strange thing.
And I think that comes into knowing your boundaries and knowing your skills, and then just utilizing other people for their skills. So I have a naturopath that I refer to in Cairns. So acne issues, perimenopause and things like that, I will pass them on, because it's only going to, again, give the client a better result if I pass you on to them as well. You're still doing treatments with me. I'm not losing anything, but it's going to only enhance your results and your progress.
Yeah, definitely. I think as well, building that network, people underestimate the power of knowing other people in the industry, other holistic avenues, other, people. It's just like that whole referral process works a lot smoother. I think about doctors. Okay, you've got a problem, here's the urologist. You've got a problem here, here's the surgeon. They have someone in their pocket for each area. They have a dermatologist, they have this. It's just like we actually probably need to be doing the same thing in beauty.
So I do the same when people come in clenching their jaw, the pain. Yes, I'll help with Botox, but I'll also refer you on to where I go to get Emmet therapy, because I find that really helps with TMJ pain and to keep me intact. So I'm always like, take this card. And it's good. It's what's best for the client.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think it's really cool to be able to have people where you know you're working together and you're getting the best results, because sometimes if you're great in one area but the other areas aren't great, it doesn't matter how good you are at what you do. If those other areas don't get fixed, you're not really going to get the best result possible.
Absolutely, yeah. And it's where people's passion lies as well.
Yeah.
So utilize that.
100%. I wanted to come back to something that I've thought about a lot, and I haven't done an episode on it because I've been looking for the right person to talk about it with. And that is the difference between owning a clinic, a salon, a studio in a city versus regional. And obviously, you know my story. I come from Albany. Now, I don't know what it's like where you are, but you can share your story in a sec. In Albany, there's one place that is quite prestigious and known, and everyone will go, oh, I've been to the Temple, you know? And then there's a couple other little ones. I think there's like the place that absolutely ruined my eyebrows that we will not name, if you've seen the memes. And there's a couple, you know, Home People, and there's a couple of like those really dodgy nail salons, you know, there's just not great standards there at all. And I just remember as well, anyone who opened up from home, people would be so mean. They would go report them to council, get them shut down. Like, it was really catty. And it was just like the level of training there wasn't great. You can't just go drive to a supply store and pick anything up. Everything has to be ordered online. Like, what's it like for you running a business in the regional area?
There is a lot of other clinics here as well. For a small space, we have a lot of clinics. And so there is quite a lot of competition, if you want to call it that, or just other services available. What is very different though is, especially compared to the Gold Coast. So I've had a client recently, she's moved from the Gold Coast, and my pricing is, like I said, it's up there, and it's not the highest in Cairns, but I'm the top 3 maybe. And she's like, oh my God, I only pay this amount for a mil of filler in the Gold Coast. And I'm like, yeah, because there's competition everywhere there. Like every corner, there's another clinic doing the same thing. So they're driving their prices lower and lower just to try and keep the clients and get the clients. Whereas where we are a bit more regional, yes, we've got a lot of clinics here. We've also got the population, so people can choose. And I feel they've got the options. They have got the chain clinics. If you want that experience and you know that's the lower pricing. And you've also got your high-end clinics where you know the pricing is going to be more. And then you've got mid-ground. And so you've got a bit of everything here. And I think the clients just, like I said, my client base is 35 and above, usually professionals with families. They want an experience. They don't want, like I said, to walk out of a franchise with a red face and everyone see them in the middle of a shopping centre. So they will pay more because it's the experience. It's not just the results.
What about training? Like, obviously you're a trainer, but for beauty as well, not just skin and injectables, like, is there a beauty academy there? Is there a place you can go pick up supplies, or is most of it done online?
No, everything's online. Everything. There's two small beauty shops here where you can get your fibrellas and bits and pieces and things like that, but everything is online. And not long ago, the road, it was earlier this year, flooded coming from Townsville to Cairns. No post would get through for like 10 days. You're like, yep, this is when you realise, you know, one road shuts down and you can't get through.
So if I were coming to Cairns and I was doing this business upskilling event, do you think many people would attend because they're like, oh, I want to learn? Or do you think it would almost work the opposite way where they're like, oh, they're all learning the same thing, I'm not going to do that?
Probably the latter, yeah. And I'd come for sure, but I feel people would be, it's a small town, everyone knows everyone, my competition's going to be there, so I don't want to go because I don't want to see them, which is what it would most likely be, which is really sad.
But if you do that in a major city and there's an event and you're missing out, it's like you're not staying ahead with the times, you're not innovative, you're not someone. It's so different, isn't it?
Yeah, it's so different. But in a city, you're not going to be sat next to someone that works 2 streets away from you.
Yes. Yeah.
Most likely. Whereas here, we all know each other. All the cosmetic nurses and carers, we all know each other's names. We know what clinics are. And I don't have a problem, but I know other people would have problems.
Yeah.
Being in that environment. Yeah.
And it comes down to your mindset and your success. If you're already doing well, you already know the journey, you've got there, you're sorted. But for someone who's not doing as well or struggling or trying to make it, they're probably got their guard up more, you know, even though they don't want other people to copy them, they're probably actually doing it to others without realizing it. It's like,
that's it, yeah.
So different.
What's that saying is you're only, the people that are jealous of you is you're always like ahead of the people that are jealous of you or something like that. You're never jealous of someone that's doing less than you. It's always someone that's doing more than you.
Yeah. And jealousy is a very interesting emotion because it's actually showing you what you're envious of. Like, what do you secretly desire? What is that unmet need that that person has access to that you don't?
Yeah.
I'm also curious because let's say you look at Perth. Let me look this up. Perth population. All right, there's 2.384 million people in Perth. Now let's look at Albany. There's approximately 41,000. So,
oh my God.
When you look at the hiring pool of talent, how is that whole situation?
It's really hard because most likely you're going to be taking someone that's already working in another clinic.
Yeah.
And you will know the owner of the other clinic and you will know this person. And I've had that. I've taken a couple of staff from other places and, well, I've not taken them.
They've come to you? Or?
Yeah, they've come to me. They've applied with me. Yeah, not poached them. Actually, a really nice woman in Cairns, she owns Silk Clinic here, and her demotherapist is she came to me, and I messaged her because I know her, because Cairns is small, and I said, hey, I hope everything's okay with Mia coming over to me. And I'd also one of her nursing injectors had come to me as well. I was like, I know 2 of your staff have come to me recently. Hope everything's okay. It's nothing personal. And her reply was lovely. She's like, I'll always be okay with this when staff are going for personal growth. I know what they can get from coming to you now compared to what I can offer them as a chain clinic. And I thought, oh, that's really nice. Like, it's respecting that what's best for your employee.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not just trying to hold them for the sake of it,
Because I know with bowling, this is the issue we have, and I actually think it's quite similar to beauty in some ways. Hear me out. So if you want to find someone quality, they're probably already working a full-time job.
That's it.
They want safety. They want security. They want more pay than what they're currently getting if they're going to risk leaving or losing what they already have. And when you're a bit scared, you're not sure, probation periods, all that stuff, you're probably only going to want to hire casual unless you've already got fully booked columns and you need someone to actually replace whoever's leaving or whatever it is. So it's like, if you're putting out casual, you're never going to attract the type of quality staff you want unless there's someone who maybe is like a mum and they've left and they're coming back into the workforce, or they're studying alongside, or, you know, and then once again, they're not fully committed to their job. They've got other distractions, other things. So then sometimes they're unreliable. And it just kind of creates this cascade of problems of like, you actually have to be profitable. You have to be premium. You have to be charging more than everyone else. You have to offer better upskilling and career opportunities, because if you're not doing any of those things, you actually can't attract top talent. No one will come to you. You know, you might have the couple people who are like, all right, I want to work here, and then they've gone on that long-term journey with you. But to attract A-level talent, you have to be the best and you have to offer better opportunities than anyone else. And so for the businesses doing the bare minimum, they're not investing in upskilling training for their team. You know, they're not trying to progress their career. They're just saying, you need to do these clients and make this money. I don't think those businesses are going to survive long term.
They won't, and that's our clinic. We have monthly meetings with my clinic manager with the staff has monthly meetings. We have KPIs for that. And then that's also like checking the notes are correct and everything, the photos have been uploaded. And then we also have a monthly meeting. But the girls actually, they love their meetings every month because we go through the previous month and we're like, okay, what are we planning for this month? And also knowing how they work. How is it financial they like? Rewards? Is it that they'd rather have the time off? They'd rather have a nice massage. And we have a lot of training. Our old cosmetics trainer comes in every month to do half a day with the girls, just either reiterating on new treatments. Then device training I have about every 4 to 6 weeks as well. We get models in and we're constantly reassessing. And keeping up because it's ever-changing industry as well. There's always something new coming out. And that's why going to conferences and things like that. I took all my team to Gold Coast NSS this year, the Non-Surgical Symposium. It was a great weekend away for us all. Like, just invigorates everyone and you're bonding as a team. And yes, that cost me 10 grand, that trip. But that's invaluable to me as my staff appreciate it. They put more effort in and they look after their clients and the knowledge that they've got. So,
oh, absolutely.
worth it.
And you know what's really interesting is when you look at corporate, right? If I was working for you, let's say for 5 years, and I was like, Katy, I'm looking at leaving, in corporate, they're going to sit there. If you are valuable and you're not just a little desk taker, they'll sit here and they'll try and negotiate with you. Okay, what do you need? Do you need a pay raise? Do you need flexible working hours? Like, what is it? They know the cost of that person leaving. And then retraining is going to cost them way more than actually investing in that person. And obviously you got to pick and choose your people, which is a hard thing as well. You're not always going to know from the start, is this person quality? 6 months in, they might show
that's often the true colours come out.
And I think it's a very, I don't have an answer for this. I think having a good hiring process to weed out the time wasters and the people who aren't aligned and knowing what you want, that is like absolutely essential. But I mean, for small business, I really feel for us because there's so many different things that we have to try and navigate to just keep staff. And also beauty is one of those ones where it's like, I'm just going to go start my own business,
Yeah, same with, what was injectables, but now that's harder. It's the same. I also feel like what you were saying then about when you go to leave, them saying, okay, what can we do? I feel you need to do that before someone gets to the point of wanting to leave. That's how you keep them.
And you've got to check the warning signs. Like, have they checked out? Are they not as engaged, Yeah,
and they burnt out. My clinic manager, she runs my life. I can't live without her. She messaged me this morning. She's like, I've dropped the mic off at your house. Here's a video of how to do it. If you get stuck, just give me a call. Like, she's an angel. And she wants to move to Brisbane at some stage. She's always said this. Yeah. And I'm always been, you go whenever you want to go. If you want to work remote from me, you can do. That's fine. I'm like, if that's what you want, like, you'll have a job with me still. You can work remote. And I think giving her that, like, oh, that's okay. And she's still here, which is great. I don't want her to go. But it's about looking out for them before you get to that stage of burnout and they want to leave. So
definitely.
And I find, have you read Surrounded by Idiots?
No, but I saw a meme the other day and it's like, I'm pretty sure this guy's the problem. Surrounded by idiots, surrounded by narcissists, and I'm like, I'm seeing a pattern here.
Yeah, it's actually really good for personality types and then how to work with the different personalities. So the theory is that someone's at work and they think, oh my God, I'm just surrounded by idiots all the time. It's not. It's because you haven't learned their personality type to communicate with them and how they work the best. I know all my staff's personality type and what colour they would be, so how I need to work with them individually to get the best performance out of them.
What personality type do I have?
Oh, yeah. I would say you're definitely between blue and red.
Blue and red. Okay, I'm going to look this up. Blue and red personality type. Is this spiral dynamics or not? Oh, no, okay. If it's spiral dynamics, I was going to be like, that's fucking rude because red is like Hitler vibes where you will stop at nothing to get what you want no matter who you hurt. And then blue is loves to be part of a community, a corporation, it's giving back. But then the orange, that is entrepreneurial, and that's when you're all into like the cars and the looks and the handbags and look at me. And then those people make all this money, super successful, empty inside, and then they go back to the community and they're like, I'm going to do wellness and intimacy and love. And it's like this whole, like, guys, look into spiral dynamics, NLP.
Yeah.
It's so interesting. But yeah, I'm glad this isn't spiral dynamics because I was like,
no, it's not. No. Yeah, bitch. No. Red is just that you're very driven. Really, and that you know what you want and you will go for it. And the blue is, I would say you're a bit analytical, like you research. You want to know the results and why you're doing something and how I can get it better, especially with business.
What are you, Katy?
I'm between green and red.
What's green?
Typical nurse, very caring, will put everyone else first. Yeah. A bit quiet really, but always reading the room and
that's being
more intelligent than what people think they are. But I'm red at work and I'm green at home. It's funny, like you have your different personalities for different areas.
I think that makes sense though, because you know, I know you say you're friends with your clients and, you know, your workers and stuff, but to a level, you still need to also be the boss. You need to be respected.
Yeah.
And if you are too much of a pushover, like they're not going to take you seriously. But
Absolutely,
when you come home, like I know for me, I'm on the ball. Like I am big projects, numbers, decision making. Like I have to be switched on. And by the end of the day, like exactly what you're saying at the start of the episode, like, you know, I've spent all this time talking to clients. I just don't want to talk to anyone. I just want to hug. I want to relax.
Yeah.
You know, I don't even want to cook dinner. I'm like, I just put on like F1 or whatever TV show I'm binging and like, but I don't even have time to do that. I think, oh, that would be nice. And what am I doing? I'm still cooking. I'm still going to bed and I'm like, oh, we're not having the self-time. Oh,
yeah.
It's a real thing. Like looking back on everything that you've achieved with this business and, you know, your whole personal journey, what have been some of the most proudest moments you've had?
I think when I purchased the commercial property, it was a big thing. I never thought I'd buy a place to work out of. I never thought being like a single parent, I'd be able to do that. Money-wise, like financially wise, but also having the balls to do it as well.
Oh, yeah.
So, that was a big achievement. And doing the renovation on it, you know, it cost way more money, typical renovation, than I expected it to be. It took 2 years with council approvals and everything. So that day that I could finally open the door and clients could come in, it was a good achievement. I was like, oh, thank God I'm never moving again. We are staying here forever.
How much did you spend on your fit out?
Oh, you don't even want to know. This wasn't just a fit out. This was moving the house from the front of the block to the back of the block, lifting the Queenslander up so that the downstairs would also be legal height to work underneath. It was building a firewall on one whole side of the building, which was quoted at 150 grand.
Oh my gosh, we got quoted like $20,000 to save this $2,000 shed that's about to fall apart. We're like, we're not putting a $20,000 up firewall
for a $2,000. Yeah. So I think I stopped counting. It was going to be about, well, when I bought it, I thought, it's about a 250, 300 grand reno for the whole house and clinic. It's over 500. I stopped counting.
And do you think now that you've made that investment, it's been worth it? Or are there still a level where you're like, oh, I'm paying it back and it's painful?
No, it's like I've definitely noticed compared to when I was renting for a few years, like my outgoings are a lot more now. My overheads are a lot more because I've got the building loan. Also, then I pay it into my super, my rent to my super, because I bought it as a self-managed super, the property. Definitely my overheads are a lot more, but it's a long-term investment. Thinking long-term, it'll probably be paid off in about 10 years. And also the location of it, it's medically zoned, so it's like, it had to be medically zoned, so like a hospital. So I'll probably have someone like QML or someone like that come to me in a few years' time. Not that I would sell then, but offer me a lot of money because it's a prime location in the middle of Cairns. So it was an investment. But so glad I did it. I'm not paying rent to anyone else now, and I can't be kicked out. And it's not your 3x3. I'm there forever. So
I think that's a huge thing, you know, to speak into. And like when you go and take that kind of risk, I guess it's smarter to do it if you know what you're in for. And what I mean by that is like when we did the bowling alley, well, we thought we knew what we were in for. We still didn't. But we'd been running it for 12 years, you know. We knew what money it could make. We knew that it was a reliable business model. It was consistent. There were more opportunities like adding in alcohol, adding in more arcade games. Like we knew that business model was going to work. So then making that big investment, we can see that it was going to be worth it for us. And like same thing as you, prime location. We purchased it for 1.2 mil. So we leased for a couple of years and then purchased, and we obviously extended the rent-free period because we almost went bankrupt and a whole few things. We just had the property reevaluated, and from what we've added and like the 3 or 4 years that it's been there, it's gone to 3 mil. So it's doubled. And I think when you know that that's your long-term goal, it's worth it. But for anyone who's thinking, I'm going to go straight into this off the bat, like doing a big commercial fit out, I would say don't. Like rent a room, build a clientele, start small, and then have that cash flow sitting there. So because whatever the renovation you think it is, it's probably going to be double.
It's always way more. Yeah, absolutely. And have that money there. That's the thing. I had money there, but I was still going to be requiring a loan for it as well. So,
and you can't predict how long it's going to take. Like, as much as you want to, you have to have the cash flow coming in from the other place or have yourself covered.
Yeah, because you're paying rent somewhere else at the same time while that's being done. And yeah, it was meant to be a 6-month reno and about 250 grand, and it was definitely double, and it took nearly 2 years because of all council approvals. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. The council approvals are insane. Like, we're looking at doing a second story, and the reason why is because if you leave that time, all of a sudden the connections, the relationships, you know, whether it's builders, whether it's suppliers, whether it's council, they will go, or there'll be more red tape, and all of a sudden it gets harder and harder. And I can't even, like, we went through the rezoning thing too. We actually weren't zoned correctly, so we had to pay for that, you know. Even trying to get things like a liquor license, it's just like with government and everything they're trying to enforce for the better. I'm like, for so many fucking problems to just let this business open, why are you not regulating the beauty industry? Like, it's just so backward. I was like, I had to, you know, go and do all this demographic research, put together a public interest assessment. Like, there were just all these random things I have to do. And I'm like, why am I having to do this for that? But I can't, like, there's no regulation for beauty. It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah. It doesn't make sense. That's it. And that's what's frustrating, because it's not across the board with everything.
Yeah.
So for me, when I did my reno, I'm the only clinic in Cairns that has had to do what I did. There's only another couple of places that purchased their properties, and that was a few years ago, and they were just classed as commercial. Whereas I'm the first one that's classed as medical. So I was like the guinea pig for them. It was great.
I think the other thing that is really hard as a business owner to make peace with, for lack of a better word, is when you have to go and do all these things. Like, we have to have compliant, you know, railing, and we have to have all these disabled access ramps. It cost us $120,000 to install access ramps, railing, disabled toilets, just to be compliant, right?
Yeah.
And then it's like those people who come in, like, they all want discounts. And like, no, you, like, not you directly, but, you know, the government made us pay this just to get you in. And it's just like the cost of that. You look at businesses that set up back in, you know, 10, 15, 20, 30 years ago. They mostly don't have that stuff because it's come in after, but they're allowed to keep operating. And it's like,
that's it. They've not been made to change.
So it, like, you look at the established businesses or businesses that have had that premise and they've been running, they don't even have to do half the stuff that you have to do today. So it definitely can feel really frustrating when you're looking at how much money is just leaving your bank account just to meet all these different rules and regulations.
Yeah, because I found out while I was doing it that actually while I've been renting, my landlord should have actually been registering us as whatever it needed to be. But they never do. As a landlord, you just sign your lease and you go ahead. And I'm like, actually, we should have been registered as a medical zoning there, even though we were just renting.
Oh, that is rough.
Yeah.
So now that you know all these things, what's a piece of advice you wish someone gave you earlier in your career?
Outsource as much as you can. If you're the money maker, you're the one bringing the money in, don't waste your time on things that you don't particularly want to do. So mine was social media in particular. I would spend a full day every couple of weeks like trying to plan out my socials. I hated it. I had to drink so many cups of tea. I don't even drink tea. And I just didn't enjoy it. And in the end, I was like, well, I could work today and that would pay for someone to do my social media. And that's what I did. And I was like, why have I been struggling and stressing and hating this for months when actually my best use is hands-on with the clients and bringing the money in and doing what I love. You stick to what you're good at and outsource the other things. None of us are good at everything. Like, use your skills for what they're the best at. Use other people's skills for what they're best at.
It's really solid advice. I love that. And what's the legacy that you want to leave behind in the industry?
I don't even know if it's for the industry, but it's more for my clients. I want them to just feel better about themselves from meeting me, from spending time with me, whether it's treatments, my personality or whatever, that they leave feeling better about themselves. I think maybe for my business, it's that I'm known for being very caring, ethical and a great person, like a normal person. That's it.
Yeah.
And making people feel better. That's all I want to do, make people feel better about themselves.
Well, you're definitely in the right career career pathway. Profession.
Yeah.
I was saying progression. Profession. Yeah. Oh, that makes me laugh. My mum and dad, like when I was younger, they were like, what do you want to do? And I was like, I don't really know. Mum's a nurse. I was like, what if I did nursing? And they're like, oh, Sammy, you don't care enough about people. And I was like, what? And this was back when I was, naughty in high school and rebellious.
Yeah.
And like I was self-centered, I wanted to go party. I didn't want to listen to mum and dad telling me no. But, now I'm like, guys, I'm actually in one of the most caring roles where I give so much to other people. It's actually gone the opposite way. Like I need to give something back to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh. All right, Katy, this is my favorite part of the episode. We are going to work towards wrapping up, but first, I'm doing a rapid fire round of questions. So just say the first thing that comes to mind. Are you ready?
Okay. Yes, I'm ready.
Let's do this. All right, Botox or skin needling if you could only have one forever?
Botox.
Okay, well, I can't expect that. You are a most underrated aesthetic treatment.
Probably skin needling. I love needling. No, I think everyone needs to be doing it.
What's the weirdest thing a client has ever said to you?
Oh my God. Do you do penis filler?
What?
And it's a thing. Places do it.
Like on which part? The hole or the top or?
No, to make it wider, to give more girth.
You're nasty. If you weren't a cosmetic nurse, what would you be doing?
Still working in ICU as a nurse. I love it.
Ooh.
Yeah.
One treatment trend you wish would disappear forever?
Lips.
Oh my gosh, I was about to say duck lips and in my head and I was like.
Yeah, big overfilled lips. Hate them.
Yeah. Favorite part about being a trainer?
Sharing knowledge and giving confidence.
What's your least favorite part of owning a business?
Ooh, staff. I'm good now. I've got a good team, but when it's not a good team, it's hard.
I think that's fair. Yeah, dealing with all the little dramas and rosters and pays and meetings, it can get a lot for sure.
Yeah.
What's the most played song in your clinic right now?
The girls will hate me because I love country music. So I have Zach Bryan on, but they come in and like, Katy, we're not playing this shit. So it would be Zach Bryan, some of his music.
I should get you to help create the Wild West Bowling playlist. You would be perfect.
Love that.
What's your favourite guilty pleasure show or movie?
True crimes. Like the Ed Gein, what's just been on Netflix. I love any of the true crime documentaries. Also loved Gossip Girl.
Iconic.
Yeah.
What's one thing people always get wrong about you?
Calling me Katy, not Katy.
Hey, Katy. What's 3 words your best friend would use to describe you?
Caring, hardworking, ADHD.
What's one thing you'll never compromise on in your business?
Safety.
Dream holiday destination right now?
Bora Bora.
Most valuable lesson you've learned as a business owner?
Trust your gut.
Who inspires you in the industry?
Oh, so, this is going to sound really up myself, but I don't really know because I have people like you that I love from business side. Then I have people who are injectors for the clinical training side. I don't know. Pass.
Would you rather a full clinic booked out months in advance or a flexible schedule working only 2 days a week?
Flexible schedule, 2 days a week.
100%. I think that lifestyle, it's so interesting. Like when you first start out, all you want to be is fully booked. And then when you're fully booked, you're like, I'm so burnt out.
Yeah. And that's where I've changed. I work 2.5 days a week now and it's great.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Well, Katy, thank you so much for sharing your experience, your wisdom, and your honest take on the evolving aesthetics industry from, all the injectable side, the challenges that you're dealing with, the opportunities that I don't know if I'd call them opportunities, but the way that we're going to change the way we, I guess, see the aesthetics industry evolve. It will be really interesting, stressful, interesting, I meant, and you've given us a lot to think about. Like, and anyone who's listening to this episode, like, I don't know much about injectables and I'm definitely not the expert. Katy has been in it for a while, and when she reached out to me, I really thought, instead of just hearing from someone who isn't actually doing injectables every day and also someone who's maybe got a big team and having to deal with that over just being a sole trader. I thought it would be really good to get her perspective. So I hope that, you know, if you feel like you're challenged and you're not sure who to ask, Katy is the most beautiful person that you will be able to reach out to and get an answer from. And look, she may not be a lawyer, she may not be a doctor, she may not be this, but you know what? She's a good human. She understands business, and I think it would be great to be able to connect more people who are struggling with this with Katy. So please, where can they find you, Katy, if they want to reach out?
So just on my socials, the Aesthetic Lounge Cairns, Facebook and Instagram, just send us a message on there and we will always answer. But yeah, love sharing knowledge, and if we can help people make this industry easier and safer, I'm all for it.
I love this. Yeah. Let her know what your favourite takeaway from the podcast episode was. Don't be a stranger. And if you've loved it, please share it to your stories, tag us, and until next time, I will catch you for the next episode. Thank you so much for coming on, Katy.
Thank you, Sammy.
Bye.
Bye.
Audience exclusive.